Do you ever wonder what fitness style best fits grapplers? My name is Jason Rosati. I'm your strength and conditioning coach for grapplers. I'm here in my home gym right now. I'm in the lair. I just crushed a workout, had some lunch, had a shower, feeling nice and not smelly. And I wanted to come on here and talk about this important topic. Now, this might get a lot of slack because you see very commonly in the world of jiu-jitsu, when people start to incorporate strength and conditioning, if they incorporate strength and conditioning, there's still a belief that strength and conditioning doesn't really matter for jiu-jitsu, and I have to say that that's completely false, but maybe I'm biased. Now, there's a lot of different avenues of fitness. There's a lot of different components that make up fitness, and the reality is, no matter what type of fitness style you choose, you're going to get pretty well developed at all 12 components of fitness. You know, if you're doing bodyweight exercises and you're learning how to do lots of pull-ups and muscle-ups and maybe like even human flagging, or you get really good with kettlebells and you're able to Turkish get up to 75 pounds, or you're able to kettlebell swing with 100 pounds and you're able to do cleans and stuff. If you're able to do that, hey, that's awesome. And that's going to give you a lot of benefit to those components of fitness. But there's something that weightlifting does that's a lot different than these other components. What I want to do is share with you how weightlifting can help you become a lot less injury prone, how it can help you become more explosive, and how it can also help you increase your cardio output so that way you don't get gassed out on the mats. Now, I want to first come on here and talk about how people have this intention or this thought that strength and conditioning doesn't really matter for jiu-jitsu. Just keep training on the mats. Spend more time training jiu-jitsu. Spend more time developing the skill of jiu-jitsu. That's what everybody says. You know, be on the mat 7 days a week and keep learning jiu-jitsu. Keep learning your sport. And that's completely true. I mean, if you want to get good at jiu-jitsu, you have to practice actually getting better at the skill itself. So if you want to get better at jiu-jitsu, you got to practice jiu-jitsu. Now, that does not mean that strength and conditioning does not have its place. And the reason why that is if you're going against somebody who is around the same weight as you and has a very similar skill level to you, the difference in what's going to get one person submitted over the other is going to be incredibly tiny, minute changes. I mean, look, if you're a lot better at jiu-jitsu than somebody else, you're going to beat that person. Like if you're a purple belt and you go against a white belt, you know, you're going to win. Even if that person is way more athletic than you. You know, you always see that. You see that common trend when athletes come in as white belts and they come into a jiu-jitsu gym and they just get rocked and it gets humbled. It's like, oh, athleticism doesn't work. But what if that same white belt had the skill of a purple belt, but still had his athleticism? Hey, what's up, guys? We got Paul in here. Alberto, what's going on? Kristen, I will read that comment in just a moment. So if you take two people with the same skill level, same weight, but one person is more athletic, they're going to be a lot less tired. They're going to be less fatigued. They're going to be more sharp. They're going to have quicker reaction timing, and they're going to be able to catch the mistakes of the other person, especially as they start to get more fatigued. As you get more fatigued, you're not going to be able to perform your best. You're not going to be able to perform the skills and techniques to your desired ability because you are fatigued. So strength and conditioning can definitely incorporate that. So a lot of people, especially martial artists, will go more towards like the kettlebell route, the bodyweight exercises. They'll do that stuff. And those stuff is great. You know, it's great to do. And it's going to take you pretty far. But eventually you're going to reach a cap off. And that's where weightlifting comes in. Weightlifting, it gives you like the sky's the limit. Like you can continue improving weightlifting. But it becomes very stale after a while, the other type of exercises we talked about, like calisthenics and kettlebells. Now, I'm not saying that stuff is inherently bad, and that should actually be in your program. I actually program to my athletes that they should be doing kettlebell exercises. They should be doing calisthenic exercises. But what weightlifting is very good for, and when we talk about weightlifting, I don't just mean like typical bros that go in to become a bodybuilder or to get jacked or to get ripped. What I mean is weightlifting from like what you see Chinese weightlifters do in the Olympics, like Olympic weightlifting. If you look at The Olympics, if you look at Chinese weightlifters, you will see the best athletes in the world do weightlifting. And some of the best high-performing sport athletes do weightlifting, and they're able to reach very high heights in their sport. There's recently, I know like William Tackett is on like an absolute killing spree. And I think a big thing that helps him is he's actually into weightlifting. Like he actually does clean and jerks. Yeah, he does deadlifts and he lifts, and that stuff's really good for your body. It's very good for your joints if you know how to perform it right. If you progress in the correct way, you become very, very strong. If you look at that list of the 12 components of fitness, they each have different values and different things that get prioritized and worked depending on your fitness level. The one thing that the calisthenics and the kettlebell stuff and the functional training doesn't do is it doesn't allow you to have an adequate amount of load. If you're able to clean and jerk, let's say 96-pound kettlebells, that's considered to be very impressive and to be considered very high level. But you can clean and jerk up to like 300 pounds and still have room to continue to grow and get stronger. The amount of coordination, reaction timing, and agility, and speed, and power, and strength, and quickness, and acceleration that it takes for you to do heavy clean and jerks, or heavy cleans, or heavy deadlifts, or heavy squats is very, very high. A lot more than the other exercises, and you have that excessive amount of load. Now, what also is great about weightlifting is actually from beginning to when you actually get decent at weightlifting, it improves a lot of the functionalities that we desire, right? So if you want to become less injury prone, if you're able to overhead squat with perfect form, 135, let's say, your joints are going to be a lot stronger and healthier, which is going to allow you to become less fatigued and become less injury prone when you're doing things like jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of functionality to it, especially when you start to incorporate things of technical basis like the clean and jerk or the snatch. And you're able to do that with excessive amounts of load. I mean, here's the thing. When you're warming up for these exercises, you're going to be working out those tight spots, right? Those tight lats that ruin your shoulders. That hip pain, that hip tightness that gives you lower back pain. That knee pain that always flares up after training. If you have a good weightlifting program, that will actually take care of most of that aches and pain, and will also have you have the most amount of mobility, okay? Now, mobility is a lot different than flexibility. Flexibility is what your range of motion is in a static position under no load. But mobility is what you can do in that said range of motion. So there's a lot of people that can perform a bodyweight squat, like they have the flexibility to do a bodyweight squat. But as soon as you start to add more than 40 pounds, all of a sudden their squat form starts to break down. If you have a barbell over your head and you start to progressively get better at squatting with that bar over your head, and you do the right exercises that allow you to get better at that, your technical ability, your athleticism, and your risk of injury is going to severely decrease. And that's why I believe weightlifting is superior than the other kettlebell, calisthenic, functional fitness things that we normally see. Here's the truth of it. If you look at becoming a very good jiu-jitsu athlete and you want to be able to just live a really amazing life, the strength and conditioning, what it should help you do is increase your power, increase your strength, and inhibit your risk of injuries. Jiu-jitsu practice should be focused on getting better at jiu-jitsu. This doesn't mean that you need to put resistance bands on you when you go to wrestle. It doesn't mean you should wrestle with a heavier backpack on. It doesn't mean that you should be, if you're a striker, like you shouldn't be throwing punches with cables and resistance bands. The whole point of the gym, the workout, and the exercise is not to be sports specific and try to add resistance or load to the sport that you're performing, but it's to allow you to get stronger. It's to allow you to become more mobile, inhibit injuries, and improve your cardiovascular system. So that's what we need to focus on, and weightlifting accomplishes that goal. So if you focus on weightlifting, that takes care of all of that. And then you can just focus on jiu-jitsu technique. You don't need to do the sport-specific stuff. It's just stuff that's a little bit odd and it's a little bit working. So anyway, that's going to be the end of this here. I hope you guys found that enjoyable. We have a free training series coming out very soon on these topics in a little bit more in detail. So if you want, just comment down FIT, and I'll get that training series over to you as soon as it gets uploaded. We're going to talk about why strength and conditioning will actually help with your jiu-jitsu, and why fixing your belief system around these topics will actually help you become a better athlete and will help you learn jiu-jitsu a lot faster. You're going to see the correlation between the two. So go ahead and comment down fit, and I'll send that to you. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys soon.